everyone, welcome back to my channel. So for today's video, I'm going to be talking about some common designer mistakes and how you guys can fix them. So these are things that kind of relate to if you're starting a new space or redoing a room, building a home, moving house, etc. So these are common tips that designers, stagers alike will often give to you. So I figured I would share some of my top tips, some things that I've personally kind of learned along the way with redoing bedrooms and building a home and everything. And also, if you guys are new to my channel, then hello, my name is Delaney and I make content all about interiors, anything like home related, lifestyle related. That's what I create content on. I love to do like cleaning videos. I also do like room renovations, DIYs, things like that. So if that is your jam, then make sure you go ahead and subscribe. Also, if you guys like this video, please give it a big thumbs up. So I'm going to leave my #1 most important tip, in my opinion, till the very end. So make sure you stay tuned till the end of the video to see that tip. So my first tip would be clutter. So you want to make sure that you are not cluttering your space. And how I would personally describe clutter would be anything that serves no purpose in a space and is not giving you any value, has no reason to be there, should go. So this can be anything from decor to just overall like mess, or basically anything that you have in your home that just brings no value to you anymore. There's no purpose for it being there. Then in my opinion, it should not be there, because cluttering up a space is like the worst way to really just make it look unkept and just really bring down the overall appeal to that area. So you want to make sure that you are keeping it as clutter-free as possible. And I don't mean you have to go like full-on minimalism and get rid of everything. I just mean basically if there's something in a space that is serving no purpose, you don't like it, whatever it may be, then it needs to go. The next tip is matching all of your furniture in a given space. So this is something that was really popular in like the 80s and the 90s, where you go and you buy like a set of matching everything for like your bedroom or your living room or whatever it may have been. So in my opinion, matching all of your furniture is like one way to really date a space or a room in your home. So I'll just kind of give you a couple examples so you guys know what I mean, and I can tell you also like how to kind of counteract that and what you should do instead. So for me myself, I actually don't find any problem with matching a few pieces of furniture. You just don't want to be like too matchy and have the exact same dresser, mirror, bed frame, end tables, and have everything look the exact same, because it's just gonna look dated and it's not gonna bring as much like appeal and like interest to a room. So for me myself, in my master bedroom, our bed frame and our end tables do match, but I have a completely different dresser and mirror, and like light fixtures and everything are quite a bit different. But with that being said, you want to make sure that everything goes well together. It's just not matching. So what I mean by that is you don't want to have like a cherry red piece and then like a driftwood piece, because those two are going to clash and they don't look very cohesive or anything. So what I did, just to give you guys an example, for my bedroom, is I have like an off-white bed frame with my end tables, and then all of my light fixtures are black. My pendants or my sconces are black. My mirror, I have a big chunky mirror, is also black, and then my dresser is like a really nice driftwood color. So those colors all complement one another. They're all very neutral, so they look good. It does bring a little bit of interest because not everything is the exact same color. And then another great example of this would be in your living area or your family room, to not match your couches to your chairs. So this is somewhere where you can be kind of bold, in my opinion, and it looks really nice. So you could do like a nice neutral, say off-white couch, and then you could do like a blue chair. That would look really good. So things like that, just make sure that you're not too matchy because that will make your space look very dated very quickly. My next point I could probably talk about all day long because there's so many different things to cover, but I'm just going to go through the bases, and that is lighting. So when I was building this home, I knew that lighting was one of the most important things that I was going to be choosing, which sounds kind of silly, but the lighting in a home can really make or break the space or the home. If you think about it, lighting is kind of the whole like vibe, the whole like aura of your home, if you will. The very first tip when it comes to lighting would be to make sure, the simplest way I can put this is to make sure that all of your lighting is cohesive in the fact that it is either warm or cool. So most people know what this means. A warmer tone has more of like a yellow undertone, more like chill, it's more relaxed. When you think of like twinkling lights, fairy lights, that's more of like a warm undertone. Or you could go the cool route or of a blue undertone. So whichever you go, there's no really wrong answer, but just make sure that everything's kind of the same throughout the house. That's the very first tip that we got from the designer that was helping us build our home when we were selecting our lights and our light fixtures. She was saying just make sure that you go with one or the other. Me personally, I like a warm light. I think it's more cozy and inviting, and that was more of the style I was going for. If you like a really modern, crisp, clean kind of look, then you might want to go cooler, but it doesn't really matter as long as all the lighting is either warm or cool. When it comes to lighting, your light fixtures are something that a lot of people overlook, and this is something that can be done quite easily. It doesn't have to be super expensive. You could DIY light fixtures. I just say don't overlook light fixtures. I would say think about that if you're redoing a space. What kind of fixture you think would complement the space based on your style of the room that you're going for. Okay, so my next tip is extremely important. This is something that I almost should have mentioned earlier, but it's okay, and that is not choosing a design style. So especially when you're coming in to like a brand new home, say you're moving into a brand new home and you're planning on renovating it, or you're building a home, whatever it may be, not choosing a design style for your house is a huge mistake, because it's one way to make your house look very unplanned and not cohesive. And in my opinion, you want your home to look more or less cohesive. It doesn't have to look all the exact same, but you want it to look cohesive. So that is the word when it comes to choosing like a design style, is cohesiveness through the space. So that is something that I put a ton of emphasis on when building my house. The overall style of my house, I wanted it to be, and it's okay to have a couple different design styles, but I wanted my overall home to be like cozy and warm and inviting, and more of like a modern farmhouse style. So I went with this modern farmhouse theme throughout my entire house. So I chose a lot of black and white colors to kind of go along with that modern farmhouse theme, with like some pops of colors here and there, which are typically like greens and like navies. This can be something that can be a little bit overwhelming to a lot of people when they don't even know what their design style is. And I plan on creating an entire video on how you can decipher what yours is, or what your design style is. Lots of people do know, but I know a lot of people don't. So just get on Pinterest, look at some different design styles. There's tons of different ones out there, to minimalistic, to bohemian, to more traditional, to farmhouse. There's a ton. So think about you and kind of what your personality is, what you kind of are more drawn to, and stick with that and kind of keep it cohesive throughout the entire space, or your home, whatever you're doing. If it's a room, keep the entire room fairly cohesive in your design style. My next tip is, it probably is like up for debate, but in my opinion, not having enough decor is also a no-no. So you want to make sure that you have enough decor to where it looks like it reflects you know, your life and your personality. So again, this can be tricky, but I would say just have pieces that you love. It's really, really important to have pieces that are meaningful to you in your home, because that's what is going to make it feel homey, and it's going to feel more like yours. And it's just one way to really love your space, is have like mementos and things that you know are special to you, whether that be photos or whatever it may be, it doesn't matter, but just having those items in your home to make it feel like a home and make it feel yeah, just like a space that you want to be in. The next one is like a quick one, but it's something that I think is often overlooked. It is pushing your furniture directly against the wall. So this is kind of like random again, but this is something a lot of people do and they don't think it's really a big deal, but it can make the entire spacing of a room look off. You don't want every piece of furniture to be up against the wall and just have like too much space in the middle, because that's going to look off. It's going to look strange if you have like a couch pushed right up against the wall, and then you have, you know, your TV stand pushed right up against the wall, the TV right against the wall, and then you just have a coffee table or what have you. It's just going to make the overall spatial situation look off. So when you're placing furniture, place it off the wall. So it just kind of depends on the space, which is leading me to my next point, but just make sure that it's a little bit off of the wall and not straight up against it. So this brings me to my final tip, and in my opinion, this is the most important tip when designing a space, and that is not having a plan before you get started. So you don't want to just jump in blindly, because it's just a recipe for disaster. You're way more prone to make mistakes. You're way more prone to have like problems along the way or not like it along the way. I would say always, always, always plan a space before you get started. It doesn't matter what this is referring to when building a home, when moving into a new home, when redesigning a space, when starting with a blank space. You just want to make sure that you plan first. So you want to plan all of the detail. You want to plan the furniture, you want to plan the colors, you want to plan the decor. In my opinion, you want to make sure everything is planned before you get started. When you're planning a space, you want to make sure that it is proportioned, the spatial ratio of everything is correct. So you have to plan this ahead of time in order to make sure that this is going to look good. So for example, when I first moved into my home, before I even moved into my home, when I first saw the layout of my living room, I planned out exactly what type of sofa I wanted to get, which would look the best in that space. If I wanted to get a chair, if I wanted to get 2 chairs, if I wanted to do a sectional, etc., etc. These are all things that you need to plan in advance, and it totally depends on the space, because you don't want to end up with, say, and this has to do with like a smaller space, a larger space, things like that. You don't want to end up with, so say you have a smaller living room and you get a huge, massive, oversized sectional. That's probably not the best idea, just because that couch or that sectional is going to take up the majority of the room, and that's obviously not what you want. You want everything to be in proportion, and you want it to look nice. So you don't want all the attention to be on your sofa. So that's just one example, but I mean, there's millions out there. This is something that there's lots of help if you need help out there. You can ask, you can, you know, get a stager, you can get a designer. If you don't want to pay for that, just get on Pinterest, look for a living room or whatever the space may be, a bedroom that is similar kind of layout to yours, and see what looks good, what looks proportionate, and then you can kind of start planning your furniture, etc. from there. So that's going to be it for this video. I really hope that it was helpful for you guys. I hope that you guys learned something. I know that there's some of you that are probably going to disagree with a few of these things, and that's totally fine. But yeah, overall, I just hope it was helpful for you guys, and I hope that you enjoyed it. If you did, again, please go ahead and give it a big thumbs up. Let me know what you thought in the comments down below. And as always, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.